What's up and welcome to another video, guys. Now let's say you are thinking about building your own custom loop or water cooling your system. Now today what we're going to talk about is what are the essential things that you need to build your own water cooling system with hard tubing. What I got here today is a Thermaltake C350 DDC hard tube liquid cooling kit. Now this kit pretty much comes with all the things that you need to build your system and turn it into a water-cooled system. In this kit is a 360mm radiator, so that's why it's called C360. And this kit is pretty new, so I asked Thermaltake to send us one, thank you Thermaltake, to send us one to make a review, check it out, see what's inside. And also, in the next video we are going to do a build with this kit in a equally fitting case. Now I'll put the link below for the pricing of this kit. It's much more budget friendly because it's a DDC pump. So go ahead, check that out if you are interested in building your own custom water cooled system. So let's go ahead, open this up and see what comes with the kit and what are the essential things that you need to build a water cooled system. So obviously the box comes in another box. So let's go check out what's actually inside the kit. Inside, when you open it up, first you're presented with the manual and the papers and the documents, all the stuff that you don't really use. And then comes a nice foam padding that's going to keep your fans and the CPU block safe. 3 fans with addressable RGB is included. And the CPU block, which is specific W for addressable RGB. And then you take off that layer and the padding, and then you're presented with the Pacific C360 radiator that fits 3 120mm fans. Next up is the little fittings that comes with it. Those are also Pacific C Pro G-quarter fittings. These are very easy to fit into a system and build a liquid cooling system with because these are very new and the way they connect is very special. Take out that layer and then you get a little filler bottle, 1 liter of clear coolant bottle, the DTC pump press combo, which is very compact and looks very nice, with power cable and the pump sensor cable, and then all the other accessories, cables and screws and things that you need. A little silicone tube to use when you're doing the bending of the PETG. A fan cable splitter, so that's gonna come in handy when you run out of fan headers. And then loads and loads of PETG tube. There's actually 8 PETG tubes, so it's very nice. You're not gonna run out of any tubes fitting in any kind of system. So that's pretty much what's included in the kit. Let me go ahead, organize these things on the table so that I can come back and talk to you guys. Alright, so now that we have it unboxed, I have a few things to talk about the overall kit. But first, a sip of coffee. Right, so first of all, the packaging. I really like the fact that this is in layers instead of each component, each part in its own box. But there are ups and downs to it. Now, this way it's slightly more likely to get damaged because it can move around or hit something else. But if you consider its own boxes, it's not gonna get damaged, but there's a lot of extra garbage that's piling up when you finish your build. And on top of that, all this garbage is extra cost. So this one obviously is cheaper to package. So overall, most of your money goes into the actual component rather than the packaging. So that's something really good I like about this, and I'm not a big fan of having each and every one of those on its own in its own box. That aside, let's take a deep dive into these products. Now, first of all of these RGB lighted components are addressable RGB. So it's gonna look pretty nice and you can control it to whatever the way you want it to look. And this radiator, it's a 360 30mm radiator, pretty good cooling, pretty nice to use and fits in most of the cases that supports 360. The fittings are another thing that I really like about this. These fittings over here are very easy to install. It's very good for someone who's starting out. There are plenty of fittings, 6 fittings altogether plus 2 90-degree fittings, so it can pretty much fit in most of the builds you want, and if you want more fittings you can get them separately as well. And then aside from that, all the other accessories, almost everything that you need for this build is included, including a 24-pin jumper. Most of the kits these days include this to let you power up the PSU and the pump without actually powering up your system components like the motherboard and VGA. Obviously, if you have any leaks, since they're not powered up, that's not going to damage your component. So this is very important, and when you're doing a build, it's very important to do a test run for a few hours with this plugged in instead of with the system. Fan splitters, that's really nice to use. Most of the motherboards will have enough fan headers, but it's nice to have this, and sometimes you might use this if you have a lot of fans in your system. Now another thing you have to keep in mind is when you're plugging in this, make sure the power output of your motherboard fan header is enough to support 3 fans. Just make sure before you plug in that. Next up is the RGB header or the controller. This RGB controller is pretty cool. Connects with a SATA connector and it's very small, very easy to fit inside, not too much cable junk or garbage. Now what's special about these fans are, these connect to this controller, but it has its own separate cables for RGB or the lighting control and the power, and also the spinning fan power as well. You don't need to have its own controller plugged in for just the fans to work. Next up is the pump and the reservoir combo. Now this is what really special about this kit. It's a DDC pump, so it's much smaller, but it does not produce as much pressure and flow as a traditional D5 pump, and at the same time it doesn't consume too much power. For a small build, a small loop like this thing is ideal rather than a D5 pump. So this is smaller and more efficient at having the liquid circulate through your system. So this is really nice, really compact. I'm already having ideas on how to use this small pump for other mods and other concepts. Those will be coming up in the future. But then next is the coolant. Really good coolant. Compared to the previous coolant types, this one is less likely to separate the little powder-like particles. So this one is a clear one, but obviously if you want to get pastel or other things, you can get them as well. This also a nice addition, very helpful when you're building, and also this part. This silicone tube is very helpful when you're building and bending these PETG tubes. Now what's really nice about PETG tubes is that you can reuse these things even if you make a wrong bend. Compared to acrylic tubes, if you make a wrong bend, you cannot reuse it, you cannot correct it by heating it up because it's gonna start looking ugly and messy. But these ones, if you make the wrong bend, you can heat it up and then correct it or do a different bend. And you can do this a few times until it's slowly starting to stretch up too much and then starting to look ugly. So if I were new into water cooling, I would be using this as my starting kit because this is ideal for a starting kit. And having PETG tubes and 8 of these, not 4. 8 of these is really helpful for you to get practice onto building a loop and having really nice bends. Now, normally when I'm doing a system or liquid cooling, I normally use up like 4 tubes or maximum 5. But this one already includes 8, and it's really good if you make mistakes or if you want to practice. It's really nice to have extra tubes. So overall, this kit is very nice. Seems very helpful, especially to someone who's starting up modding or building custom loops. And even for a modder who's been there for a while, this kit looks very nice to me as well. And extra cubes, all the important things. Apart from these things included in the kit, you only need a hot gun and a screwdriver to build the whole system. So it's really nice. I'm gonna use this entry to mid-range kit to build a system in the next video. So stay tuned for that video. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And comment down below, would you rather have a custom open loop cooling system with hard tubes, or would you just go for, let's say, a 360 all-in-one liquid cooling solution? Which one would you prefer? Comment down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Gotta go finish the coffee.